Millions in Puerto Rico are without water, food, or electricity. The latest is in our lead report.
A historical figure inspires Price Scholarship students on campus. We have her story.
Plus, the world lost a controversial industry giant this week, his life and influence in entertainment.
And trouble in the harbor engulfs the coast in smoke. Updates from this morning coming up. Newscene starts right now.
Welcome to this week's episode of Newscene. I'm Shaylin Martos.
And I'm Tony Cornejo.
Puerto Rico is reeling after the historic punch from Hurricane Maria, and residents are in crisis. Nora Mitchell is here with the story.
Thanks, Shay. This week in Puerto Rico, it's becoming clear that this is a complex disaster, and initial relief efforts are falling well short of the need.
The U.S. island territory was devastated after Maria struck 9 days ago, severely crippling vital infrastructure. The island's 3.4 million residents are experiencing critical shortages of food, water, gasoline, and cash. The storm has taken at least 16 lives and destroyed homes, crops, businesses, roads, and cell towers, effectively disabling Puerto Rico's already fragile economy. Millions of residents have yet to receive aid. President Trump has come under fire for what critics say is a too slow response to the unfolding humanitarian crisis. Puerto Ricans are U.S. citizens. They vote and have representation in Congress. City College history professor Pete Harrow explains.
Well, if you're born in that territory, you are a U.S. citizen, so you do have the right to emigrate to the United States. The best way to put it, it's a fancy word for colony. And so I think that in the United States, we don't even use that term anymore. We call them protectorates.
In an effort to speed aid to the island, yesterday President Trump approved the waiver of the Jones Act.
So that means that ships that are flagged in other countries, whether it's Liberia or India or wherever, can now take food, water, and essential goods to Puerto Rico. So the hope is that aid will start arriving to the island at a much faster rate.
Yesterday, an additional $6.7 billion in aid for Puerto Rico was approved by FEMA. President Trump is scheduled to visit the island next week.
Shipping containers of desperately needed supplies are still backed up at San Juan's port. And today, the Trump administration and San Juan's mayor are butting heads over the initial U.S. response to the damage and suffering. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Nora. San Diego takes further action to kill a deadly virus outbreak of hepatitis A spreading through the city, particularly the homeless population, and so far 17 people are dead. The San Diego Health Department is washing sidewalks, downtown and beach communities 3 times a week, hoping to effectively kill the virus. San Diego City College is offering free vaccinations to those who need it.
And construction is ramping up on the border wall prototypes here in San Diego County. Competing companies broke ground on Tuesday, 2 miles east of the Otay Mesa border crossing, to build 8 different wall samples. Congress has yet to approve funding for that wall that has caused so much strife during President Trump's campaign. The San Diego City Council passed a resolution last week opposing for the president's border wall plan. Councilman David Alvarez called the border wall, quote, a stupid idea, and said border safety can be better accomplished with infrastructure and technology.
A new project between our campus newspaper and the San Diego Union Tribune goes live on Monday. Entre Líneas, or Between the Lines, is a blog showcasing the life along the California-Mexico border. The project is giving city journalism students the chance to write for a national award-winning newspaper. Each of the students is working with a mentor, one of the Union Tribune staff. They work together to create multimedia content for the border blog. Entre Líneas goes live on October the 3rd and will push and publish news stories every day.
And the deadline is looming for anyone trying to renew DACA paperwork. DACA, or the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, is a program that allowed those who came illegally into the U.S. as minors to stay for a renewable 2-year period. They also receive deferred action from deportation and are eligible for work permits. New proposals are being drawn up to modify the DACA program, but people have until October 5th to apply for their renewal. Today, starting at 3 p.m., there will be a free DACA renewal workshop hosted in room M200. There's also a scholarship covering the cost of renewal, which can be applied for at the workshop as well.
A new book about the contributions of Chicana leaders, including the stories of 3 women with ties to the San Diego Community College District. The authors are Maria Nieto Senor, President of the Board of Trustees, former trustee Denise Moreno Duchenne, and Beatriz Zamora Aguilar, who leads the Chicano Azteca dance group. They were featured for their contributions to education and the spread of Chicano culture. The book is called Chicana Tributes, Women of the Civil Rights Movement, and was published in June.
San Diego City College will be hosting the National Manufacturing Day Educational Resource Fair. The fair is open to all manufacturers, students, small businesses, and entrepreneurs who are looking to network for resources to help develop their business. The fair will take place October 4th from 9 a.m. till 2 p.m.
San Diego City College will host the upcoming 7th Annual HUBU Conference. The conference is designed to engage male high school students of color to prepare them for success in both education and in their own lives through workshops. This year's conference will take place October 11th in the Seville Theater from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m.
And new signage is lighting up the streets of downtown, but not everyone is dazzled by the hefty price tag. San Diego City College has added new LED signage costing about $50,000 per sign. Many students were excited about the new upgrade, but others were skeptical. A number of students felt as though the money could have been used for resources that departments are lacking. With fabrication and material costs for all 16 signs being installed, the total cost is over $800,000. The City College campus project manager defends the cost with Prop N, an $870 million construction bond program. The voter-approved proposition was passed back in 2006 with the purpose to transform and modernize the City College campus.
Here at San Diego City College, an amazing presentation by Holocaust survivor Rose Schindler brought many students to tears.
Rose Schindler was imprisoned at the infamous Auschwitz camp in 1944. She brings a message of action instead of indifference.
Nobody, the whole world was crying when this was going on. Where was the world? Where was humanity? That's what I want to know. Anyway, how we survived this.
Schindler spoke on Wednesday during a personal growth class for Price Scholar students.
Okay? And always remember, if you have a bad day today, tomorrow will be better.
When asked if she knew what happened to her mother in the concentration camp, she had this to share with us.
And then they burned the bodies half alive. Okay? After they didn't even give the people enough gas to kill them all the way, they would shove them out the door, and they would burn these bodies.
It's an honor, it's a commitment, it's a torch that we continue to carry on.
Mrs. Schindler continues to tell her story to students and civic groups in the hope that such a tragedy will never occur again. For Newscene, this is Kevin Burke.
Rose Schindler moved to San Diego in 1956 with her husband Max, who passed away earlier this year.
An NBA star is a Nick No More. Find out who in sports.
And hundreds of first responders rushed to the harbor as smoke fills the downtown sky. We have the story coming up next.
Look at you. You're at the top of your game. At work or at play, you're unstoppable. Nothing can throw you off track. Oh, hey. She's cute. Nice going, man. Things are going great for you. You've earned a night out. Good drinks, good friends. Yeah, we can go ahead and call this a good night. Wait, is that your car? Uh-oh. Not smart. Yeah, I saw that coming. Say goodbye to her. Ouch, that'll hurt your bank account. You're looking at around 10 grand in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. I hope you like eating frozen dinners. Alone. Let's try this again. Smart move. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
The San Isidro School District is being held for ransom by hackers. The campus computers have viruses that have already hit schools from Maryland to Montana this year. That attack, known as ransomware, is demanding $19,000 by Bitcoin by September 16th. The demand for money was sent from an automated message within the malware found in Vector USA, a technology contractor assisting the school district. The San Isidro's Director of Technology says the district has restored their backup files and is in the process of checking each workstation to make sure that they are virus-free.
Yesterday marked the one-year anniversary of the death of Alfred Elango. He's a man who was gunned down by El Cajon police following a 911 call by Elango's family. This Wednesday, Reverend Shane Harris and the National Action Network, along with Elango's family, held a press conference calling for the officer's termination. Elango's sister called 911 to say her brother needed help because he was acting strange, and Elango was raised his tobacco vape pen at the officers and was shot afterwards. This sparked days of protesting across the county of San Diego. In January, San Diego District Attorney's Office chose not to pursue criminal charges against the officer. Elango's toxology report tested for positive for cocaine and alcohol. Under the circumstances, the use of deadly force was reasonable, according to the DA.
Firefighters are fighting flames on board a large fishing boat docked at the San Diego Harbor in downtown. Crews from the U.S. Coast Guard, San Diego Harbor Police, and San Diego Fire Department responded to the multi-alarm fire, which went off at around 9:30 in the morning. Over 100 first responders were deployed to the battle, and the fire covered downtown San Diego in thick smoke. Officials confirmed that nobody was found on board and during the initial search.
President Trump is proposing more tax cuts that will benefit the wealthy and not so much for the poor. Trump's goal is to eliminate the estate tax and the alternative minimum tax. Economists believe that this could play a significant role in increasing the national debt. This would be the largest proposed tax cut since the Bush presidency.
The U.S. Department of Homeland Security has amended its rules to require immigrants to disclose their social media accounts. The agency will now collect information of Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter handles. Other information they will collect includes aliases, associated identifier information, and search the results on immigrants, including permanent residents and naturalized citizens. The Electronic Frontier Foundation said, quote, "We see this as a part of a larger process of high-tech surveillance of immigrants. The rule is currently undergoing a public comment period and is slated to take effect on October 18.
And if you're like me, you've looked at the moon and wished we could go and enjoy its low-gravity surface. It's now in the foreseeable future because Russian space embassy Roscosmos announced that they have signed a cooperation agreement with the U.S. The dual-nation project will be led by the United States-based space agency NASA. They will build a space station that orbits the moon and acts as a spaceport to deep space, other stations, and the surface of the moon. They are scheduled to start sometime in 2020. And everything from players going on the trade block to NFL protests have filled the world of sports. Here's Ron Prater with the latest.
Thank you, Shay. A shoe company is in trouble after multiple NCAA assistant coaches and Adidas executives are among 10 charged in a corruption scheme. Assistant coaches from Auburn, USC, Arizona, and the associate head coach of Oklahoma State have all been charged in the corruption scheme. Federal charges have been brought against 10 people, including managers, financial advisors, and representatives of Adidas. The FBI has been investigating the criminal influence of money on players and coaches since 2015. Following the scandal, many recruits have decommitted from these sports programs. Following a slew of comments from President Trump, more NFL players participated in national anthem protests last week. Trump called NFL players who kneeled during the national anthem sons of bees. On Sunday, some teams, like the Seattle Seahawks, did not come out for the anthem at all, while others kneeled as a team or linked arms together. This has caused an uproar amongst fans, some saying it has nothing to do with disrespect for the military or the flag, while other fans burned jerseys of their once favorite players. Trump continued to fire off on Twitter, saying that NFL owners should be firing any player that refuses to stand for the anthem. In the coming weeks and even months, we can definitely expect this story to continue to develop, as it brings Colin Kaepernick into the discussion following his protest and lack of a QB spot, as well as a foggy future as football and politics continue to collide. The Thunder continue their busy offseason as they acquire Carmelo Anthony in a blockbuster trade. Earlier this week, the New York Knicks traded Anthony to the OKC Thunder for Enes Kanter, Doug McDermott, and the Chicago Bulls' 2018 second-round pick. And speaking of the Bulls, they have lost Dwayne Wade as he reunited with LeBron James, signing a $2.3 million veterans minimum contract. The duo are back together after winning 2 championships with the Miami Heat. Another week and another delay for SDSU. Following a week where the Aztecs had a 25-minute delay against Stanford, there was an 88-minute weather delay in Colorado as the Aztecs faced the Air Force Falcons. In both games, the Aztecs were trailing when the delay occurred, but once the delay was over, the team came out renewed and drove down the field for victories. That's all I have for sports. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Ron. A rapper has made history as the first woman in nearly 20 years with a #1 record.
And despite inflammatory statements from Kim Jong-un, intel may show that the North Korean arsenal is unequipped for war. More coming up on Newscene.
Did you know kids who play outdoors have healthier lungs?
Totally.
I did. Did you know that boys that play with dolls make better husbands?
My son has lots of dolls. But did you know terry cloth diapers breathe better?
I did. Mm-hmm.
It's totally true.
Oh, yeah.
Did you know that strollers have the right of way on a sidewalk?
Yes.
Yep, I did. Did you guys
Did you know that kids who eat breakfast have higher GPAs?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. That's actually what I was going to say.
Did you know babies should never touch silver? It's really bad for them.
I knew that.
Did you guys know that statistically friendly kids have more friends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's obvious.
Did you know most people think they're using the right car seat for their kid, but they're not?
Parents who really know it all know for sure that their child is in the right seat at the right age and size. Visit safercar.gov/the right seat to make sure your child is protected.
I'm putting that on my blog.
I just put it in mine.
U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis escaped harm on his way to Kabul this week. Shortly after he arrived by plane, the airport came under fire. Mattis and NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg were in Kabul to meet with Afghan leaders to discuss a war strategy. The Taliban claimed responsibility for the attack and admitted to targeting Mattis's plane. The Islamic State later also claimed responsibility. A number of civilians were wounded following the attack.
A former South Korean military official has stated that it's highly unlikely North Korea has the capability to attack and subdue U.S. fighters. Current senior analyst for a Korean Research Institute for National Strategy, Moon Seong-mook, says it's also unclear that North Korea would be able to even see the advanced U.S. warplanes. South Korea's National Intelligence Service stated that the North's radar failed to detect the B-1B bombers as they flew east of North Korea.
And more international news, German Chancellor Angela Merkel won re-election for a third term on Sunday, but the anti-immigrant Alternative for Germany, or AfD party, received 12.6% of the vote. This will give them a seat in German parliament. The AfD is considered a far-right nationalist party. It was founded 4 years ago in response to anxiety over Merkel's immigration and refugee policy. The AfD is the first party to the right of conservatives to enter parliament in 60 years.
Saudi Arabia announced this week that women will be allowed to drive for the first time in the ultra-conservative kingdom. The kingdom was the only country in the world to ban women from driving and has, for years, received negative publicity internationally. The state-run Saudi press agency and state TV reported the news late Tuesday evening, saying King Salman decreed both women and men to be issued driver's license. Women, however, will not be allowed to obtain licenses immediately. A committee will be formed to look into how to implement the new order, which is slated to come to effect in June 2018.
And police uncovered more than they bargained for when arriving at a couple's house in Berkeley. Responding to a domestic abuse call, police entered the home and found psychedelic mushrooms in different phases of cultivation. They seized 677 pounds of mushrooms, worth over $1 million. Further evidence showed a large-scale drug operation at work. The couple was arrested and booked at an Alameda jail on narcotics charges.
Another airline is caught forcefully removing a passenger from one of its flights this past Tuesday. This all began when a Southwest Airlines passenger complained about 2 dogs being on her flight. She claimed she was deathly allergic to the animals and wanted them removed without a medical certificate supporting her allergy or medication. The passenger was asked to exit the aircraft. After refusing to leave, authorities had to use force to remove her. Southwest policy states a person without such a certificate can be denied boarding if they are reporting a life-threatening allergic reaction and cannot travel safely with an animal on board. Since the incident, Southwest has released a statement apologizing to the customer for her experience and will be contacting her directly to her address to address her concerns.
And attention all film buffs, the San Diego International Film Festival kicks off next week, starting on October 4th and extending through the weekend. Events will take place in both downtown and La Jolla locations, so be sure to plan out your day accordingly. The festival is filled with world premieres, never-before-seen studio releases, and the best in independent filmmaking. Opening night will start at the Balboa Theater and end at the after party at the Westgate Hotel. And the drama department begins their first fall production of the semester, Electricidad, which is based off of retelling of a Greek myth the Greek myth of Electra, written by Latino playwright Luis Alfaro. The story is set in East LA following the murder of El Rey del Barrio, Agamemnon. Director and Professor Katie Rhoda chose to do this play because it has strong female roles as compared to the second drama production of the semester, which showcases strong male roles. Electricidad will include violence, mature themes, and strong language. The show starts tonight at 8, and there will be here through the weekend and the next at the Black Box Theater in the Arts and Humanities building. Tickets begin at $15 for general admission and $10 for students.
And here's Claudia with your weekly dose of entertainment.
Thank you so much, Tony. Now moving on to a tragic loss in Hollywood this week. The Playboy Empire declared Wednesday evening that Hugh Hefner died peacefully in his Holmby Hills estate mansion. At just 91 years old, Hugh Hefner had built an empire around a magazine showcasing iconic bunnies and lots of beautiful women. Hefner, the creator and founder of Playboy magazine, spun into the mainstream media at only 27. He became a multi-billionaire with the most successful men's magazine in the world. The magazine was controversial because despite openly showcasing sexuality, many consider his work exploitation on women. The Chicago native overcame challenges with the media as he fought for rights of the Playboy magazine's philosophy to its controversial sex appeal. Hugh Hefner will be buried next to Marilyn Monroe in Westwood Village Memorial in Los Angeles. Now on to brighter news. 2 highly acclaimed film directors will be teaming up this summer for a sequel of a lifetime. The Terminator franchise is officially returning to the big screen as James Cameron and Tim Miller take on the roles as director and producer of the film. Alongside the original cast Arnold Schwarzenegger and Linda Hamilton, the entitled addition to the trilogy looks to bring back the classic Terminator film with a modern twist. Hitting the box office this weekend is the action thriller film American Made, starring Tom Cruise and Sandra Light. In the film, moviegoers will experience Tom Cruise in yet another full-throttle performance. He plays a pilot who works for the CIA as a drug runner in the South during the 1980s. Doug Liman, the director of the film, is calling it some of Cruise's best work. Now on to a woman who's making history in the hip-hop world. And the female rapper sensation Cardi B is the first woman to rule without any other build since Lauryn Hill in 1988. Topping the music Billboard 100 charts to number 1, Cardi B debuts her hit single, Bodak Yellow, Money Moves, to the top as only the 5th female rapper to lead the Hot 100s. Cardi B is also the first solo artist with a debut track by another artist. She celebrated on her social media her excitement by thanking her fans and even some haters. That's all the entertainment I have this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
And warmer temperatures means more of a chance of danger in the county. Hear why from Jack D'Amicis in weather, coming up.
Daisy is 6 years old, and she is my very best friend. I couldn't live alone without her. I spend a lot of time in my backyard. I feed the birds and the bees. I love my flowers. The color in my garden keeps the pink in my cheeks. I was very independent and thought I could take care of myself. I fell and I had to have Meals on Wheels. I love them. They're my savior. And I look forward to the volunteers because they've all become my friends. My name is Lola Silvestri. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
It seems like it's always hot and sunny here in SD. Here's Jack D'Amicis with why this could mean danger for San Diegans. What's going on, Jack?
Thank you, Shay. Today's a Thank you, Shay. Today's a warm and sunny weather is expected once again across San Diego County. Now let's take a look at our temperatures across the coast. So when we look at the coast, we're going to see a high of about 79 and a low of about 64. When we move inland, it's going to be pretty hot at about 92 with a low of 60. And in the mountain areas, we're going to be at 81 high with a low of about 50. And as we move into the desert, we're going to be a scorching 98 with a low of 66. So let's go ahead and take a look at our regional. Across San Diego, we're going to be expecting winds and expected dry winds that will lower the humidity levels and increase the potential wildfires on Tuesday. That the National Weather Service issued a red flag fire warning, warning that the east side of the San Diego County, we have to remain vigilant for the future, warning that Escondido, they will reach the 30 degrees ocean side. I'm sorry about that. In the Del Mar, it's going to be about 69, and when we move into Ramona, we're going to be about 83 in that area. Let's go ahead and move on to the current temps across the nation. In Atlanta and in Miami, we have warm heat down here. It's going to be in the mid-80s in the northern states, in Seattle and Portland on over here for us. It's going to be in the low 60s, while in the south in El Paso and Dallas, we're going to be experiencing temperatures in the 70s. Now let's go ahead and take a look at our surf report. We're looking at about 69 degrees in the water with a swell of about 1 to 2 inches. The sunrise came up about 6:42 today, and it's going to be setting about 6:35. Let's take a look at weekend weather. And on Friday, we're going to be looking at a high of 79. We're looking at a high of 79 and a low of 64. This Saturday, we're going to be looking at about 74, 75. And through next week until Thursday, it's going to be about the same. It's going to stay mid-70s and get up into the mid-60s. And so let's go ahead and take a look at and across San Diego, the weather is going to be a little bit drier this week, so we have to keep an eye out for the weather warnings. And that's all the time I have. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks for that, Jack. Halloween is more than a month away still, but the Del Mar Fairgrounds have already transformed into the Scream Zone. The Scream Zone opens tonight at Del Mar Scaregrounds. Haunts this year include the House of Horror, the Haunted Hayride, Carnival, and a new attraction, a Zombie Boot Camp. Other features at this year's Scream Zone will include Dusk Till Dawn Bar and a Walking Dead prison. Tickets are available at the box office or online at thescreamzone.com. Tickets for the Zombie Boot Camp are available only at the box office. And we at Newscene would like to congratulate our own Vincent Fangella, who is now producing at the ABC affiliate in Chico Redding. Vince has been an inspiration and a mentor to all of us on the staff. We're sorry to see him go, but we wish Vince luck as he works to make a difference.
University. And in weather, we will have the latest on the abnormal amount of rain we've seen the past couple of weeks, as well as the weather forecast for the rest of the week. Newscene starts right now.
Hi, I'm Vince Fangella.
And I'm Vince Fangella.
And I'm Vince Fangella. Thank you.
I'm Vince Fangella. This week to bring attention to climate. Hey, it's 6 on ITV. To work with people.
President Obama announced
President Trump's 2016 campaign.
As Maria Fani tells us,
Billy Kang has the highlights. Billy, what's happening?
Now, and Brian Jeffers here to tell you all about it. Brian, tell us what you have. All right.
Well, that wraps up this episode of Newscene. Thanks for joining us.
Tune in next week for all your local, national, and international news.
I'm Shaylin Martos.
And I'm Tony Cornejo. Have a good night.